Cold World, episode 5. Jesse.
Long time between drinks.
It's been a hot minute.
It has been a while.
How was, I think it was 2 weeks since our last one?
Oh, it's definitely been like 3 or 4.
Wow.
It has definitely been 3 or 4. What was the last one? It was UK versus USA culture.
No, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was that one.
When was Lessons from Your 20s one before that?
Yes, it was the one before that. Yeah. Second one was How Would You Like to Be Remembered?
True.
It was true. And here we are. At least 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay, well, however long it's been a while.
Has been a while.
We've been busy men.
Yeah, especially you.
Yeah, a lot of things happened. Yeah, work sort of picked up a bit. They've sort of I cracked the 1 year at the place of work.
Congrats.
Which was last Wednesday. So things have ramped up a little bit extra for that. So hence the long nights.
I was going to say, because I previously, when we first moved in here, you were working from home most days. And then nowadays, like, I barely see you.
Yeah.
You'll go to work at like 8 for a 9 start, and then you'll get home at like 8.
Yep.
Especially if you go to the gym.
Yeah.
So, how are you finding all that?
Yeah, it's good. It's obviously, it literally feels like I'm back at the start again, getting used to like a whole new workload.
Really?
Pretty much feels like a whole new job. Like it's all that again, but it's good. Like this is where you experience the most growth. So I'm enjoying it in that sense. And a challenge is always good. It gets you out of bed. But it's been full on, but enjoying it.
That's good.
How was I know that you've been really busy with True Footy podcast. How have you been finding the channel?
Good, man. Like, it's actually a fuckload's happened in the last 3 or 4 weeks since, like, I feel like I've gone through an emotional roller coaster since this has happened.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks, no, I think 2 weeks ago, I actually took a week off the channel, and I didn't really tell many people this, but I told like a couple of people, I was like, I don't even know if I'm 100% sure like I'm going to make a video again. Like, I just hit that wall where I was just like kind of dunsky. But had a week off, deleted the YouTube app, actually. That felt really good.
On your phone?
Yeah, just like a little mental switch. So like previously I would always use the app to just check my views and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It became like a really bad habit where, I was just like constantly refreshing it just to see. I don't know, it was just more of a habit than really, really caring. But deleted that, had a week off, and then had a chat with Dad about stuff, and now I feel pretty good again, and now I'm like fully back into it. So I've kind of done the whole like both ends of the spectrum in the last like 2 weeks.
Bought a new camera and all.
Yeah, so like 3 days after being like, I don't know if I want to do this much longer, I spent $1,000 on a camera, and then I got Premiere Pro, which is probably long overdue. So for those who don't know, that's like the premium software package or software that you can possibly use for editing. So I thought it was about time to crack it. But I actually had a conversation with Dad about it, and there was literally one phrase that he said to me that kind of inspired me feeling good again. And he said, the worst thing you can do at your age is play it too safe.
So true.
And I don't know why, but that, like, I've been thinking about that ever since, and I just thought, you're right. Like, I think work, my actual 9 to 5 job at Bunnings was kind of wearing me down, and then I didn't have the time to attribute to True Footy, and then I felt like I wasn't proud of it anymore. And then, I don't know, just having a talk with Dad about it, it was like, kind of came to the conclusion, probably need to spend more time trying to do stuff I'm proud of, and then I'll feel good about it again.
Yeah.
And maybe taking the plunge, or part of taking the plunge with that is, investing in the channel with a camera and stuff like that, and stuff like that. So yeah, feeling pretty good again. And
it's quite the 180 from 3 days prior.
I am like that a little bit though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the whole spectrum of emotions in like a week. I'm like that with literally every part of my life. So that is good, because there was a part of me that was like, without getting really deep really too early in this pod, I was like, True Footy had become part of my identity. So like, to feel shit about that, I almost felt like I was losing part of myself, and I was like, fuck, what now?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It feels good to be through the other side of it. And now finals are just around the corner.
Yeah. And if you're glad that True Footy, Jesse McClure himself, has decided to keep on YouTube, drop a like.
Drop a like on this channel.
Drop a like on this channel, and just go to True Footy as well. And if you're not following, I mean, anyone that's following this is following True Footy anyway, but if you're not, give us all a sub. We appreciate it.
I wonder how many people have just stumbled upon this and don't know True Footy.
Well,
out of the 100,
I know there's a few of our mates who aren't into football.
True.
And they've messaged us and said like how they like the channel and whatnot. So I think there's a few of them like that, but obviously that's like with having connections previously. But
the nightclub.
No,
that's very true. In particular, your friends, I think, have been very supportive of this kind of little venture.
they like
In
it.
fact, I've only heard good things, which is nice. Not to.
I mean, I
pump us up.
doubt I'm actually gonna like bag us out and tell us how crap it is.
For sure. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, fuck. Maybe we do suck.
Maybe. I mean,
Nah.
yeah. I don't think they'll tell you.
No, I think we've found this like little niche where we just sort of talk about issues that pertain to young men a little bit. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't know if we intended it to be like that. But in like 5 episodes, we've hit a lot of. Well, we've gone pretty deep, haven't we? Because I think we kind of. I look at Jamo and Dylan, who are a really big podcast.
Yeah. What's their sort of?
They kind of just talk shit a little bit, and I mean that in the most respectful way, because to just talk shit and build an audience of like 7K,
impressive.
like they are really good at
So
it.
there's like no real seriousness to the conversations they're having. It's
Not
real
really.
lighthearted most of the way.
I think, yes, and I think what they do really well is that they almost talk like they don't care who listens. Like you and I both have
Yeah.
jobs, I mean they have jobs as well, but you and I probably would still skirt the line of being like, I don't know, staying away from like really controversial stuff.
I'm not. Yeah.
We talk about more like, yeah, not PG
I
related, but
think we base it around opinions. So like you can't really attack me for my opinions because it's my opinion. I
Yeah.
don't have it. But
I just happen to think white people are better.
but I wouldn't go on and I wouldn't talk about real controversial things that require or you need to invest in looking into that, like knowing the statistics, knowing like the real fine details.
Well, they don't talk about like necessarily politically controversial.
No,
stuff.
yeah, I understand.
What I mean
Yeah.
is they talk about things that most 20 to 21-year-olds are talking about with their mates. That mostly you would only talk about your mates with, but
I
they're
think-
pretty candid with it.
Yeah, I think we're talking like off camera just randomly one day, and I think you said it was more like just watching. It was more like you're sitting in on two mates just generally talking,
yeah.
which I thought that was a good way to describe it. So it's just basically two mates are talking and you're a fly on the wall listening to what they're saying.
Yeah, that's right, exactly right. But there's also a skill set to that where you've got to be like the right amount of candid, and you've got to be a little bit articulate. So the fact that they've done that and built the audience, because like to build a channel with no context is really hard, right? So like for me, with AFL and True Footy, like I observed a gap in the market. I was like, footy analysis isn't really a thing on YouTube. You put AFL in the title, you talk about footy, and then you broadcast it to the right places, like on Reddit and stuff. You will grow. People would appreciate it. It's very hard to do that when you don't really have like a niche. You're just a podcast.
Yeah.
So I don't know, without kissing their ass too much, like what they've done is very, very hard to achieve.
Yeah.
So how do we get there? We were talking about us. I guess the way I compare us to Jamo and Dylan is, other than the fact that they're really good at what they do, like we're just a little bit older. So we're almost like a 26 to late 20s kind of thing. So the issues facing us might be different to people who are like 20, 21.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we were probably talking about different things when we were 22.
I'd imagine so, yeah. And if we're still talking about the same things, I am worried.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that I've matured from 21.
You have a lot.
Thank
you. Yeah. Did I know you when you were 21? When did we meet? We met 2014.
Yeah. I was,
I
I was 19
Yeah.
when my first year down here.
Yes, right. Yeah, okay. Have we talked about the first time we met? Should we?
I don't know if we have.
I
I
don't
mean,
think
yeah,
so.
go for it.
Well, the first time I saw Dylan's penis was about an hour after I knew his name.
So let me give some backstory
Like
of why
most of the
that
women in
is.
Perth.
Let me give some story of why that is. I wasn't like the typical Australian teenager. I didn't drink at all until I was 18. I had my first beer, my first alcoholic drink when I was 18 years old. And then like, because I just hadn't done it and I spent so long going to parties and just not needing it, I didn't drink at all when I was 19. Like I dabbled a bit when I was 18, didn't drink at all when I was 19. And then I moved down to Perth, like 2021. And once I got down here and started hanging out with like guys down here, I started drinking a lot more. So when Jesse met me was when I was literally first like experimenting with alcohol. And like I was just such a lightweight. Like I'd have 3 beers and I would just be like at that blackout stage where I can't remember what I was doing. And so we used to do some reckless stuff, and I guess getting penises out was one of them. I don't know.
That was that. Like I only learned that about you the other day. You mentioned that where you didn't drink that much before I met you, which surprised me because you were a bit of a loose unit on the.
Well, the reason why I didn't drink is because I was such a loose unit.
Yeah, you mean the other way around. You were a loose unit because you hadn't drunk that much.
Well, no, the reason why I'd never drunk when I was 18, 19 was because I was automatically a loose guy. Like I was already like the reckless one.
Is that why you didn't drink?
Well, yeah, because I'd go to parties and I would still be the one getting in trouble, getting told off because I was like jumping off the roof into the pool and things like that. And people would parents would assume that I was like drunk and people would say like, no, he's actually completely fucking sober. I was just doing that. So like when I went to parties to hang out with people and to be on the same vibe as them, I just didn't need alcohol.
Wow.
And then so it was just cheaper not to buy it. And I was just like, well, like I've never got to a party and been like, damn, I need to be on the same level as I was already a level above them as it was. So like I just never had the craving. And then once I got to Perth, I started getting into it and started liking it and trying it. And then that's how I used to get really drunk.
We really do have nothing in common, hey? Like, I'm the exact opposite to you.
Abu Dhabi, he'll get you.
Yeah. True. No, that's cool. I remember when I met you, because I'd actually... so I embellished the story a little bit, but like I had met you once before that night.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
I came to see Darcy, and then you were like in Darcy's room, and you were just like, "Hi, I'm Dylan." I remember being very surprised that you remember my name, because you were absolutely like fuck-eyed.
Yeah.
You was like, "Hey, Jesse."
I don't think that's a fair representation of what I was like.
Want to see some nuts? Those are the days.
Well, we've matured.
Murdoch University Village, where we all lived, but none of us went to Murdoch.
Yeah, we're all at the Curtin, but let's say lived at Murdoch.
At the Curtin. People love that story though. Like every time I tell people, like that we went to that I went to Curtin and lived at Murdoch Village, they were just like, hold the fucking phone.
Is that possible?
Yeah, but the story behind that is just that Murdoch was like sick.
And Curtin had such average student accommodation, and they used to give it to all like the Asians that were paying so much money to come.
Asian privilege, am I right?
Maybe. And Curtin just had such like vacancies. We lived
Murdoch.
Murdoch had such vacancies. Like we lived in the North Village, which is way better than the South Village. I know South Village had a heap of vacancies, and even still, like our time at Murdoch, there was probably
North Village, am I right?
There was probably always still like one flat that was completely empty.
Yeah,
like that whole north of the village. That wasn't north of the village. That wasn't all full when we were there.
No, it wasn't.
So got to stay there. It was good.
It was sick. I lived there for 3 years.
I was only there for 1.
Yeah,
but only because Dan got kicked out.
Murdoch Village was actually like quite lit. Like I said, like all the residents were students. Like Wednesday night trip down to Fremantle would absolutely go off.
Yep.
Take the bus. Feel bad for all the commuters who were coming home from work and had to deal with like 50 screaming Murdoch students.
And the bus would be packed too. Like it wasn't just like, oh, if you can get a seat, you can stay on the bus. It was like people lined up through the centre. Like it was just hectic.
Yeah. Now Murdoch days were sick. That was a really good time of my life.
I look back on it fondly.
I do.
But glad I'm not in that situation anymore because I was broke.
Yeah, true. Yeah, glad to see so much has changed for us. That YouTube revenue. But yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Jesse, I actually got a question for you.
Do go on.
Thank you. So I was talking to a mate the other day, and he went on holiday like pre-COVID, obviously, but when he was overseas, he was doing like a Sail Croatia, which is like a tiki tour, whatever it is.
Croatia is beautiful.
Yeah.
Continue.
But he came across a beautiful woman who wasn't his girlfriend, who was still in Perth. And he was telling me, he was like, man, we clicked, it was sick, like I really liked her. And then he was in this like moral dilemma of if he because they were like getting along, like, and they hung out for like a week. And there was definitely that like sexual tension between them. And it just got me thinking, if I was in that situation, how would I handle it?
Okay.
So the thing is, you're overseas for however long. It's generally going to be like, what, 3 weeks? 2 weeks, whatever your holiday might be.
Europe's generally a bit longer. You'd go 3 to 5.
So 3 to 5 weeks and then your whole life is based in Perth. Like you're from Perth. You're not going to live there. But while you're over there, there's this girl that you connect with, but you have a girlfriend that you love that's in Perth. To ever pursue it would mean you'd probably have to break up with your girlfriend for possibly maybe only like 2 weeks of being with this chick to then come back to Perth to then having no one anyway. It was just like a moral dilemma of like, how would you approach this? You're overseas, you really like this girl, you got a girlfriend back at home though.
Okay. Okay, so
what would your like?
this is not
headspace
like
be
a
towards?
cheating question. This is like,
Well,
if
maybe
you-
it is. Maybe you just say like, look, I don't want to break up with her. I'm just going to do my thing. What's on holiday stays on holiday, and you end up getting with her and coming home. And if you want to live with that guilt, you want to live with that guilt. But like, what would be? What's your first reactions to that if you were in that situation?
I don't know. As a man who was in a relationship for 4 years, I feel like the rules of this are pretty strong.
Pretty
There's
black and white?
definitely no such thing as what happens in Croatia stays in Croatia.
Except Vegas, maybe. Or
Oh, Vegas is the exception. No, not really. No, like that is a little bit of a fallacy. Like for me personally, you wouldn't cheat if you were going to do anything. It is kinder to break up with the person before, but it's also like if you're the girl and if your boyfriend is on holiday and he breaks up with you,
You know why.
You know why.
You know why,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly right.
yeah.
That so like that would be pretty difficult. But like, so what is the question? Like, what would I do if I'd met like the girl of my dreams, but I've got a girlfriend back home?
basically,
Probably just sit through it like a virgin cuck. No, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't. And when I say probably, I mean certainly wouldn't.
Yeah.
The only thing like is if you get really drunk and you start being stupid. But I've never actually done that. So no, I think for me, I've always had pretty good restraint on this. What about you? What are you thinking?
I mean, it's a tricky one.
As we take a sip at the same time.
Like ideally, you wouldn't want to cheat, and I'm not condoning cheating.
In an ideal world.
Yeah, but like I think things do happen. I would be more under the impression of that if I really fell for this chick and I liked her, it would to me signify that the other relationship isn't the right one. And although like coming home and being completely single would be shit, I would rather break up and follow like what my heart says initially to come home and deal with the pieces afterwards. So I would probably, if I was really into her and I was like, no, we get along too well, I would risk that relationship and end it.
You would end the one back home.
Yeah, and then I'd go on that. Because, like, I mean, really, if you're that into a girl who's not your girlfriend, like, I know that it might not say, I'm not saying it says bad things about your relationship, but I think it might say something to like, where you're at it in life. And maybe where you're at isn't ready to settle down in a relationship because you're out there on holidays finding other girls very attractive. I think that, to me, like, that says the most.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I think there is something to be said for like, it's very easy to be committed and stuff like when you don't know what's out there. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So someone who's been in a relationship, like you see it, the classic example is just someone who's in their early 20s and just like absolutely besotted in their relationship and stuff like that. And then when they get a bit older, like maybe they've got a greater, maybe like, yeah, they've got a greater awareness of what they can get, so that becomes difficult. And like going to Europe would exacerbate that, where like you see all these like beautiful women because so many beautiful women happen to go to Europe on holiday.
Everyone goes to Europe on holidays.
Yeah, I don't know. I was actually kind of in the reverse of this situation. So when I was in Europe last year for 2019, I actually did break up with my girlfriend broke up with me for like 2 weeks, but I didn't actually do anything. So. And then I came back and we got back together.
Yeah.
So that is like the most loser cuck story
you've
ever.
Did she ask that though? Did she ask while you're over there, did you get with anyone?
She did actually,
Yeah.
but the answer was no.
Yeah,
it
because
was
you
just
didn't.
an absolute bender. Hey?
Yeah, because you didn't.
Oh yeah, I thought you said did.
No, because you didn't.
I
So
genuinely-
of course you're not going to say, I did, when you actually didn't.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, true. No, I told the truth, which was that I didn't.
Do you think if you did, you would have got back together with her? Or she would have got back with you? If you said like, look, when you broke up with me, I went out and I shagged 20 girls in 3 nights. I might have overshot the expectations on that one. But do you think she would have? Do you think when you getting back would have been a possibility?
Would she have had a problem with it?
Yeah.
If the girl has initiated it, then she.
Oh, she doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean she can't go off at you for it.
Yeah, I think it'd be different. Like if I'd broken up with her and then gone off and done my own thing and then told her about it. Yeah, that would have been very hard for her to go over. Every person is going to be different. I'd imagine it would be horrible, but like, yeah, maybe you could get past it if it was just like 1 or 2. 20 women in 3 nights is like, that's definitely like AIDS territory though. So I probably wouldn't.
Come on, we're just trying to have a good time.
We're just trying to have a good time. Dylan, do you have thoughts?
It was an interesting situation that I was pondering over, and yeah, my final answer was that if I was felt that way, that would signify to me that the relationship that I'm in probably isn't the one forever, and not that she's not the one forever, but maybe I'm just not in the headspace where I want to be with a girl forever. So I would end it and I would follow that. I would come back and I would deal with it then and get work through it.
The other side of it is just looking past the moment. Like, do you throw away something really special with a woman because you met someone briefly in Croatia?
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it would have to be like, I mean, he was hanging out with this girl for like a week. So it wasn't just like a one night lust. It was a week of like getting to know her and then like really fucking with her and like, and then
fucking with her.
or you know what I mean. And so I don't think it's not a question of just like lust on a night out drunk.
Okay.
It's like you're in a group scenario, but you and this person keep gravitating towards each other. You both get along. You're both having fun. It's really good. Like it could top off the whole trip. You could look back at that trip and be like, oh, and I met that girl. Oh man, that was the best trip ever.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I can't really relate to that. I've never had that before. Do you think like, I think it's acceptable though if the bloke, if he really is like sure about this girl, if he does hook up with her and stuff and they have like a romantic week, I think that's okay as long as when he gets home he breaks up with the missus, versus breaking up with her over text on his holiday. I actually think that might be the most kind thing to do, is wait till he gets home and then tells her, and maybe doesn't mention the...
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a moral dilemma, because I do believe like... Well, I kind of feel like it's kinder to not necessarily tell the whole truth in this particular scenario.
Yeah. I just think that would be a bit rough in terms of like when you get home, there's going to be this big like greeting at the airport. She's gonna pick you up. You're probably gonna like have to kiss her, because if you don't, she's gonna be like, "Why are you acting weird?" Yeah. Like I think
acting weird.
I would personally rather just like say, "Hey, can I FaceTime you?" and then like.
Yeah. Oh, this is just a horrible scenario.
Accidentally break her heart.
There's no fucking good way to do it. Yeah.
No, it is bad. It is bad. We knew that coming into this.
Yeah. I don't know. What I'll say is, like, for me, as someone who's been in a relationship and gone to Europe, I wouldn't trade any of the 4 years I had with my ex for like a 1 week thing. So
that's fair. The girl would have to be extremely special. Special. Yeah. But I mean, you were in a relationship for a long time. How long was your relationship?
4 years.
4 years. And then, what were the effects of being in a relationship for 4 years and then coming out and just being single for the first time in 4 years? Like it would be so foreign to you by that time, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Like, it's very lonely. Like, as cringe as that sounds.
Yeah,
like,
that was. But
wow,
I like it.
Wow, thank you.
It's good
content.
content.
Where you're meant to go. No, it's not lame.
No, it's good content.
No, it is lonely in the sense that, like, even though I didn't live with my partner, like, there was always someone to text to talk about something that had happened. Mm-hmm. I don't really have that anymore. That's like one obvious thing. Like, it's just, it is quite abrupt to go from having someone you talk about your day with like every day to like not.
Yeah.
That was an adjustment. I don't know, like, it definitely rocked my self-esteem more than I thought it would. So like, I remember thinking, because I used to have like self-esteem issues when I was younger, like pre-relationship. And then throughout my relationship, I was very confident and I just stopped caring what people thought of me. And that's why I was like, I'm going to pursue YouTube as a career. I don't give a fuck what people think. Like, and I don't know, I kind of didn't expect that to all go away when I was single again. I don't know why. I feel like just like the foundations of your whole life are kind of shaken once, you know, that stability's been taken away. And I feel like I'm just starting to adjust to, I don't know, feeling comfortable in my own skin again. I know that sounds really lame, but it's probably something that people can relate to generally. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who have been out of a long-term relationship. I haven't been single since I was 22, like properly. Like, I'm not really including that trip last year when I was single. What?
No, nothing. What? Sorry, go on.
Go on, tell me.
I couldn't even explain it. It would ruin everything. Just go.
You'll have to cut.
Do you reckon that fucks you up for future like, are you so closed off to relationships now?
Definitely. Yeah. Like, there's definitely like a repair period. Yeah, I definitely do not want a relationship, and like, it could be the most amazing girl in the world,
and you just wouldn't.
Nah.
Interesting.
Yeah. What about you? You're kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum. You've been single for... How long have you been single for?
5 years?
Is that all? I thought it was... Yeah, okay.
Five,
right.
6 years?
Yeah, okay. So we're going back to...
Well, when I moved to Perth, and I moved to Perth, 6... Shit, it might be 7 years now.
2014 or 13?
It was the end of 2013, so like I come down for pre-season, which was the end of 2013.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I was in a relationship for a little bit into that as well. So I'd say probably from 2014, so 6 years.
It has been a long time, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But then the contrast is I was in a relationship for 5 years before that.
Okay, so like what age?
So I was in a
that?
relationship.
So like
I was in a
15 to
relationship
20?
from 16.
To
21? 15 to 20.
Okay.
Like around those sort of ages.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact months
The
of when
formative years.
and everything lined up from like 15, 16 to like 2021. I was in a relationship with one girl, and then from then on I've just been single.
Interesting.
But it wasn't a very healthy relationship. Like it was pretty bad. And when you look back on it, like there's no like malice towards her or like ill will or anything like that. It was just like we were just like very, very fucking young. There was a lot of temptations out, and temptations that you weren't really willing to like give up on because you're 16,
Right.
or like, and then when you get to 18, and like I was like a year older than her, so I got to 18 before she did. So I was like, used to when we go out to like the pubs and clubs in Gelton, like there was so many more like girls that you've never met before because they're all like 20, 21, and you're like, so not that it, like either of us did anything, but it was just like, yeah, there's a lot of like jealousy and weird stuff that went on within the relationship.
Bit toxic.
Yeah, it was in the end, especially like the last like year it was. So coming out of that, I was the same, even though like your relationship sounds like a lot better than that. When I come out of it, I was just like, I could not care who I met. Like I was like, no chance. Like nothing will ever like eventuate with any girl that I meet from now on. And then it's just sort of been like that for the last like 5 years, and even still, I think I'm just like real picky now, because I've been in a decent relationship. I know like the toxicity to avoid, and I know like the traits that I want, and so like I mean I've seen girls in that period. It's not like I've just been this lonely guy. Like,
No.
I've been out and like seeing girls and like
I know.
and whatnot. So like yeah, I think I'm just super picky now, and I think I know what I want. So when I meet girls and like hang out with them and like get to know them, if there's something that like bothers me, like I just have no real patience towards it, and I'll just rather just like cut it off if I can.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like that's like almost like emotionally damaging. Like, was it quite a little bit traumatic, the relationship?
Probably.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
A little bit.
Wow. I feel very blessed. Yeah.
I mean, it was fucked. I won't lie. It wasn't
Yeah.
good. It wasn't a good time. It was like, yeah, it was a lot of like emotional pain that just came from it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and like I've like, cause we're both from Gelton, obviously. So like she lives in Perth, and like I'm mates with guys, and they have like girlfriends that are in her friend group. So every now and then, like I'd say like once a year, maybe twice a year, I'll go to an event and she'll be there as well because we're all the same friendship group.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it's gotten to a stage where like, I'd say like the last like 2 years, me and her are really fine. Like there's no issues. Like we can be in the same social setting, and there's no awkwardness. Like no one has to avoid anyone, and like me and her can chat, and it's all fine. And I mean, she's got a new boyfriend who hates me for some reason. Like
for some reason.
Well, I know like he hates me, but
I got this.
I don't hate him, and it's just the most. It's a bit random.
I got this as well, where the ex of my ex fucking hates my guts.
But I have no emotion towards like it at all. But for some reason, he just like isn't a fan of me. And like, yeah. I mean, like to be honest, man, like you're the one that's with her. Like, if anyone should be pissed off, it kind of should be me.
Yeah.
But I'm not too phased. But yeah, I think probably the hardest thing was like
it's because you don't feel ownership of her anymore, whereas he kind of does. That's what it is. People get emotional and angry about things they feel ownership over, and it's the women that they have currently, not the women they used to have.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
No, it's a trend, right? Like,
I mean, let's keep in mind she left me for this dude.
Is that right?
Yeah. So there was a bit of a. I think there might have been a bit of crossover. I don't know.
Bitches, right?
But it was very like that. So I feel like if anyone should be really pissed off, it should be me.
Yeah.
But I have no emotion towards it. I don't really care. Like, I'm happy to like be out in social settings with them all.
Well, it's just that.
But he seems to have an issue with me being around.
That is literally textbook insecurity. Because
Maybe.
you're secure because you don't feel like your self-esteem is tied to the ownership of her, and you don't feel like what happened is a reflection on you. Whereas he cares more about like, oh, this person has slept with the woman that I currently have. Not own, but it is a male thing. Males are territorial. So they think like, oh, this guy's been in my territory. to use a gross
Been
term.
inside my territory.
He's been up in my territory's guts.
He clutched my territory's cheeks.
It's true though. Oh, it's literally just like the game of Risk. But that's what it would be. It's insecurity that boils down to, and it's about being above it as well. Like I'm very conscious when I'm very aware of like when my emotions are dictated by like my ego or being like, you know, I feel like more people could stand to be like that, and I feel like it's so basic bitch to just hate your current girlfriend's ex.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It really is. But it's weird though, because I would say generally I have a pretty big ego. Like, I have a fair amount of confidence within myself. So, yeah, I think
confidence is different to ego, I feel like.
I think it's the same thing. One's is negative and one's positive.
Yeah, let's think about what
if you could see somebody and one person will portray it as like, he's got a good confidence. The other person will say like, and it depends on where they're coming from. So this is how I feel the difference is. If someone views it and they're a confident person themselves, they'll look at that and say, he's got confidence. I like that. If another person had trouble with like liking the person that they are and being comfortable with their own skin, they would look at that, be jealous of it, and say that they have an ego.
Yeah, I know. It is perspective. I know.
And I think it boils back to the person that's saying it, but I think they're the exact same thing. It's just two different perspectives on what it is.
Yeah, that's true. When you hear the word ego,
because I've been called cocky. I've been called all of that before. But then I get some people that say like, I love the way that you believe in yourself. Like it just really depends on who's viewing me.
Yeah.
Some people will view it and say like, you believe in yourself, and I say like, yeah, of course. And then some people will just say like, you're
fucking
cocky.
Fucking wouldn't you?
You're cocky, and it's just like, maybe, like, aren't you?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, very true.
But who knows?
That's just what you say when you don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly.
But who knows?
Well, let me ask you this question then: do nice guys finish last?
We certainly do in the bedroom.
That's gross. I don't know if that's even true either.
As if that's the line.
Nice guys. Do nice guys... I know we've got some nice guys that follow this channel. Do they finish last? Just let them know.
I consider myself a nice guy. Do you I mean, okay, it's different to being kind. You are a kind person, but do you consider yourself a nice guy in this context? You're probably not.
It's hard because like I think I know how to, and this might sound bad, but I think I know how to play the game.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to, I feel like I know how to do that. These days I don't try to do that, but I definitely think that like a bit of like confidence, a bit of swagger, a bit of like oomph about you, I think women are attracted to. So
definitely.
And that's just built within my DNA as well. That's just my general personality. So I think I just, instead of holding that back and trying to be the nice guy, like, let me know when you get home safe, like doing all that kind of nice stuff, I think I'd just rather just be me, be confident, like I like to own the room. So if I go in and like I'm talking to one girl, my attention is never going to be just on her. My attention will be on every person in that room. So like I will chat to the guys, I'll chat to the other women, like, and I think that might be portrayed as like, yeah, that I'm not necessarily the nice guy that's finishing last, but
yeah, you and I really are polar opposites in some ways. So like, it's weird that we're friends. Actually, should we move on? No.
Was this house a bad idea?
Yeah, no, it is good because we have very different like observations about the same kind of topics, but like, I don't know. I feel like you definitely have a leg up because I've seen you on a night out. You garner women's attention, whereas I don't know. I certainly don't. Like I don't know too many people who do. Like I feel like you have that benefit where you can be confident and cocky. Do you know what I mean? Like it's easy for someone who gets a lot of attention from women to be cocky. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, okay, not generally in life, but like in a social setting where you said, like you have the benefit where you can talk to one girl and still like have your view on like other people. Most people don't have that luxury. Do you know what I mean? But like there is like something that is definitely undeniable, and it's when in like a romantic sort of context when there's a guy and a girl, whoever is showing the least interest always has the power.
Yep.
Like there's absolutely nothing like deniable about that. So in the sense that nice guys finish last, if you accept that a nice guy is probably going to be on the front foot, being like, you know, sort of putting himself on the what's the word, making himself vulnerable and being nice and stuff like that. They're always not going to have that power in the dynamic.
Yeah.
And it's a tough one because there is a social expectation on guys to be like the aggressor. Like guys can't really just sit. Most guys, okay, so like if you're a good-looking dude, like you probably can sit back at a bar and be like, get the attention of women and you don't have to work so hard. But if you're like a grafter, like 80% of males, you've got to actually put yourself out there. But it's very difficult to also put yourself out there and be on the front foot, but then also not seem too keen. That there is a very fine art to that.
I think there's definitely like a mental aspect to it, and I'm sure we've both been in a situation where there's been a girl who is aggressively into you.
Yeah.
And you don't find that attractive at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, there can be, like, they diminish your interest by being too keen. And it goes both ways.
And it's, I don't know what it is, but it's just like, if they're so into you and they, like, they're, like, really upfront about, like, wanting to be with you, like, all this stuff, it really, it doesn't make you want them, in a sense.
Yeah.
But then there's that girl who gives you nothing, who doesn't have a bar over here, and all of a sudden you're like, I want to marry her. Like, you're, like, so into her. Like, you're like, I don't know what it is about her. Possibly because she hates me, but I fucking think I like her.
Yeah, people just want validation from people they don't think they can get it from. Like, it's almost like a challenge. Yeah. It's very true.
So if I was going to like wrap that little segment up and give it some advice to some guys out there, I would say like there's like definitely chase and initiate the first bit with a girl, but
you can't really get around that.
Don't, it has to happen, right? Yeah. And like you have to like initiate. And I think there's a level of like confidence and swagger that comes with initiating, and initiating in a confident way. I think that like that in itself is attractive to women. But don't be afraid to, I guess, reply a day late. Don't be afraid to like, if she doesn't reply, like don't double text it. Like just leave it, let things play out how they play out. Have like a sense of patience with it. The moment that you're forcing it and like you're at it and you're trying to like get it in and like just not that way, but like the moment that you're really trying to force things, like it just
people can sense it.
It just comes off weird to them, and like it comes off weird when it goes to you as well, and it just really like lowers the value of you and like your affection.
Well, as a master beta, what's your advice to someone who's like okay, so like they've been on the front foot, they've sort of got the conversation going, they've played it cool, and then they're sort of not one wording it, but they're like, you know, maybe replying like a day late. But the girl who has pride, which 99% of women will do this,
yes,
they are also not giving much away, and that person is almost in like a stalemate. What's your advice to that person? What's the next step after that?
I generally think if we're talking like messages only,
yeah.
I don't think you can force it with messages.
Okay.
Like what I would rather do, like what I see better is if you're getting no replies out of her, she's giving you one word replies, I would literally rather not reply. I would not reply, and I would bank on the fact that I'm going to see her out eventually.
Yeah.
And when we do, the ice is broken, and I can talk to her like one-on-one.
You got to back yourself in to an extent that when you're in person, you can do a better.
Well, and you just got to back it in the sense of like it might take a year before you see them.
Yeah.
Like, and I've done, like, that's happened to me where, like, I'd be messaging a girl, and messages happen like that. Like, they start off good because you get to know each other, then, like, there's always a stage where it's just boring and mind-numbing, and it's like you both just don't have anything to say.
Yeah.
I would rather cut it off there and not force the issue, just, like, cut it off there.
And you can definitely do more damage by forcing a convo out.
And that will literally write you off. That will put a full, like, that will put a line through your name forever. But and I've done this where like I've just like stopped, I haven't replied, don't talk, bumped into him like a year later when I'm out and about, and things like spark off more than they ever would.
Yeah.
Because then like they will say, like they'll kind of be like, oh my god, like are you Dylan? And I'll be like, oh what?
Jawline.
I've been speaking to you at ages. Like how are you? Like give him a hug, and then it's just like, oh damn, like what have you been up? Like you got so much more to talk about, and like the interest levels from both of you will just rise heaps. So that's why I'm really against like forcing it, especially if it's in messaging. If you're getting one red replies, I would honestly rather not reply. I'd honestly rather leave her on red, let her wonder why you've left her on red, and when you bump into her, you got something to talk about.
Hey, didn't you leave me on red?
Yeah, maybe. And if it is, you can say like, oh, sorry, like I was so busy that day, like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're right.
That's the way I'd rather play it.
This is a dangerously broad question for so late in the podcast, but what do you think women want in a man?
Yeah, so this is the thing.
That was good, right?
Yeah. This is the thing. And I think if you can nail this question and you're in your age bracket, because every age bracket is different, right? So like when you're like, I say like 18 to 21, they don't really care like what you're doing with your life. All they care about like, are you popular? Like, do people like you? Like, do you bring that confidence? But then as you get older, the girls want guys that have their lives together. They seem like they have a good stead on where they're taking the rest of their life. Like, so things change as you get older. You need to be able to adapt to that.
It's just an undeniable psychological thing. Like, if other people like you, that makes women or anyone like you more.
Yeah.
That's it. If anyone thinks that you're not popular or whatever, for whatever reason, that is going to have
unattractive.
Yeah.
And then when you get to our age, like you're starting to get into older, you get into like, the mid-20s sort of bracket. They want to know, like, if I get with this guy, like, is there potentially I'm going to be able to have a family with him? Like, will he take care of that family? Is there a sense of security that comes with being with him? Like, has he got a good job? Like, has he got, a nice place? Does he take care of his place? Like, there's things like that come into it. But then that doesn't happen when you're in the younger bracket.
I'll tell you another thing that there's been, just to go back to, there's a fucking fly in here. Just to go back to like the effect of being single again. I've become a lot more self-conscious about people asking what I do for a living than I was when I was in a relationship. And it's like, I work at Bunnings, right? So when people ask me this, I never used to do this when I was like with my girlfriend, for obvious reasons. But now I'm very aware of what people will think of me when I say I work at Bunnings. Because when you say you work at Bunnings, it sounds very broad, right? So you sound like you could either be a trolley boy or you could be a fucking like manager.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere in between, like I'm a supervisor, and I think that is actually a quite difficult job.
Do you slip that in?
No. Because I'm
so you don't say I'm a supervisor at Bunnings?
No, because I'm also very aware about people who sound like they're self-promoting.
Yeah, overselling it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for thinking that, but I think I'm saying I work at Bunnings, but I'm a manager. Like that sounds really lame. Yeah. I don't know. So I just leave it and almost like challenge the person to judge it. But I don't know, like that. I've become very self-conscious of that because I know that people care about that now, which is not something that if you're a uni student, people care about. Like people, when you're at uni, people say, oh, what do you do? Oh, I work at Bunnings as a trolley boy, but I study marketing. And people are like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see what you're doing there. Whereas now I've passed that point. I'm just like, I work at Bunnings. Doesn't sound very impressive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think, I mean, I've definitely experienced the same thing, but the only difference is mine was never tied into how people view me. Mine was always tied into how I viewed myself.
Yeah.
So if I was in, like when I was in one of those jobs, it was more about me feeling shit.
Yeah.
And not liking what I was doing and expecting more from myself and being like, when I finished uni, I was just working at Bunnings. Like, I was just like, man, I'm worth more than this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not happy with this. I'm not. And it wasn't about telling people like when they ask. It was just more about waking up each day and being like, I'm going to Bunnings, and like that's not where I view myself.
Yeah.
So I know I don't know what it is, but like the anxiety that comes with like that. Well, mine was never tied into what people view. It was always just like it wasn't like I hated saying it to people. It was more just like I hated admitting to myself that that's what I was doing.
That's the ideal mindset, I think. To care, to like have your own, only care about what you think of yourself. That is what it's ideal. And I'm not ashamed to say, but it's like I feel like I'm better than this to care about what people think about what I do.
And that's not a bad thing either. Like I think people always say like, don't give a fuck what people say about you. But like at the end of the day, that's your reputation, and that's a big thing. And I don't think taking your reputation lightly. I don't think that's a good thing either. Like I definitely care what people think about me. Because that's how I'm viewed in the public. That's how people like perceive me. That's my reputation, and I take care of my reputation. It's the same reason why I spend a shitload of money on clothes. Like when people tell me that I shouldn't spend that money, but like I like to present myself in a way that people would be impressed.
I feel like for me personally, I feel like it's good to be selective about that. So like, you should care what people think about you in terms of the way you treat people, but in terms of, I also feel like if somebody's really judgmental about what you do for a living, that's a reflection on them.
Yeah, for sure.
But like I said, because I think that, but I also started caring about what people think, like, about what I do for a living.
Post relationship.
Yeah. I've started, I feel almost like embarrassed that I've sunk to that level where I'm like, I work at Bunnings. Like, I've never stooped to the level of being like, oh, but I'm a manager and I'm going to do really well. It used to be like, oh, I do Bunnings, but I'm doing YouTube at the same time. I hate talking about YouTube. At the moment, I just feel like the way I describe what I do doesn't sound very cool. And I'm not ashamed about that, but I'm ashamed about how I'm a little bit embarrassed to talk about that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I need to take more control of my future and my life and stuff and like that. And I still feel like YouTube is the goal. This is getting way off topic. This is what women want. But I also think that, like, women really care about a man who's very single-minded. So
I think, like, I agree with that. My view on it would be that, like, the, like, goal setting.
Yeah.
Like, I think women like that.
Yeah.
So when you say like,
I do YouTube, but, like, there is a chance that this is becoming the biggest AFL podcast.
Yeah, like if you said, like, I do Bunnings, but, like, I have a channel on YouTube, like, I study marketing. I see myself working in marketing, working in some sort of digital
age
sphere. Like, I think, like, that's the case where, like, they'd be like, oh, cool, like, he's got goals, he's got his head screwed on right. So like, what women want, that is such a broad question, and it can be answered in so many ways.
100%. I do agree with what you're saying, and I feel like I've observed this about people who are, when I tell them I work at Bunnings, okay, it doesn't sound very cool, but when I tell them I've got a podcast, or I always tell people it's a podcast. Yeah, I literally have 3 channels. But
what's the third?
I have a personal one that's got 558 subscribers.
What's the personal one?
Jesse Thomas. Go check it out. Plug.
Is that German Dancer Boy?
No. I actually have about 8 channels if you look into exactly how many videos I've made on YouTube, but I'm not going to about that. Where were we? No, I was just going to say, you can see the response from people when I talk about the fact that I do a channel and a podcast, and it's had interest from the actual AFL, which is true. People are more impressed by that. But I think, like, I feel like deep down I'm more disappointed in myself that I care about people saying, oh, you just work at Bunnings. But also I don't care enough where I'm like, oh, I work at Bunnings, but I do this side project. So I'm like in that in-between phase. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, definitely don't, like, berate yourself and get too hard on yourself because of that. I think that there's a sense of healthiness that comes with caring what people think. And then being embarrassed to say, like, what you do for a job. That's maybe not the best thing, but I think it definitely shows that you know that you're willing and capable of doing more than that. So there's positives in that in itself.
I do think, so I've got a mindset which is kind of both toxic and
healthy,
beneficial. Yeah. In the sense that I hold myself to the highest standards possible. So my attitude, and I think this has really pushed me along with YouTube, is like, yes, I'm doing this. Yes, I've got 5,000 subscribers or whatever. There's always someone doing it better. And I think that's helped me to push along and push and get to where it is.
Yep.
But that's also very negative for, like, your general mental health. So, like, for instance, like, when I was feeling low about Truth Footy and I didn't want to do it, I just beat myself up about it. Like, you know, oh, there's always someone doing it better. Like, there was a moment where I was just like, there's no point in doing it anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's very much 2 sides of the same coin, where if you hold yourself to such high standards, you push yourself to achieve high levels of whatever, but you also kind of keep yourself when you're down as well. I kind of felt that as well. So I don't know. I'm always going to be the sort of person who I'm never satisfied with what I do.
Which is a good thing in a sense.
Good and bad. Yeah. Because I'm never like, fuck yeah, I've got 9,000 subscribers. Like,
so if that was me, I'd be stoked with that.
Yeah, whereas I'm just like, I've got 9,000 subscribers, but I could have way more. Look, Caden's got 47k. Caden is a fucking great YouTuber, but I'm just like, because he's got more, I'm not going to be satisfied with what I've got.
Yeah.
It's not about beating Caden. It's just about saying, you're not that good. Just fucking settle down.
Yeah.
That's the attitude I have.
Yeah.
I've always had that. And I think it drives me as much as it hinders me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this got way off topic, but I appreciate everything you said. But
What women
let's,
want.
Let's give 5. Okay, let's agree on 5 things
That women want.
that women want that we can at least give like some value to the
I
audience.
completely forgot that's what we
So I reckon I feel like confidence.
Yeah.
It plays into it because the moment that a girl calls you cocky, it's a bad thing as well. But like, I definitely think they want like the confidence and the swagger that comes with confidence, and being able to walk in a room with like your head held high, your shoulders back, like just being a dominant personality.
So confidence, 8 inches minimum. What's the third
I mean,
one?
let's not go that far. But like, all right, so confidence is one. We can agree on that.
Yeah.
I think having like a sense of direction and or career that you're in.
Yeah.
So like, if you're not in the career that you're in, if the career that you're in right now isn't like the end goal and something that you're proud to say, having like the things in place that will get you into something that you want to. I think like just in general that sense of direction.
You know what's really important to say? Sorry to cut you off. You're right. But sort of what's really important to say is what women say they want and what women actually want are vastly different
because
concepts.
I mean, if you go to jail and you've got like emotional baggage and you're like just as emotionally scarred as possible, girls for some reason fucking like that.
If you say what does a woman want in a man? Okay, so they'll say the career thing, a man who knows what he wants, blah blah blah. But they'll also say a man who's emotionally vulnerable, who gives me the time of day.
Oh,
But-
you don't want that.
Yeah, as soon as
You
a guy
get
does
that every day of your life and you leave him on scene. Don't lie to me.
Yeah, I know you've seen my TikToks.
Yeah, I like they say like ask for a man that treats me right. You had that guy. That guy was
You do
doing
not
that
want
for the
that
last
guy.
like 10 years, and you've been leaving him on scene, and you don't want that.
That's fucking true.
You want the guy that gives you nothing. You want the guy that that treats you somewhat mean and keeps you keen. Like it is. Well, let's just fucking leave this. This is a fuck topic in general. We're going nowhere with
This
this.
is the whole like nexus of.
Oh, let me ask you this question then.
Okay.
We're 26. Have you popped
Carry the one. Yes.
26? I've been finding this lately, but I'm interested to know if you've been finding it as well. When you go out and you're out and about, you're in Perth, you're in the city, you go out to clubs and pubs, whatever it might be, is there an age bracket that you look at now and you just think to yourself, like, I can't. Like, I can't do it.
Bro, can I just say, sick topic change. No, there is not. There is no limit to the age. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, you're talking about age minimum that I would.
So you're out and about and you...
Are we talking about date
You
or-
assume that everyone's 18.
Yeah, well, fuck, you'd hope so.
You assume... I mean, people get in that aren't 18, but...
Okay.
You
let's
assume
not
that
go down
everyone's
this route.
18.
Yeah.
Is there an age that you just think, nah, I can't?
It depends. Like, there are... Okay, are we talking about like a one-night stand?
I mean,
Because there are two different answers here.
whatever. Because
Okay.
a one night stand isn't just 100% sex. Like there is so many, like there's so much conversation that is filled in.
Okay.
So even like you could be talking for a girl for 5 minutes and you could all of a sudden realize like, holy crap, I cannot deal with you. For
Yeah.
example, this is a fucking story. When I was in Fremantle with Jesse and another man of ours, there was a nice looking girl, so I went up and said like, can I buy you a drink? Went up and bought her a drink, and you know what she said? She said like, oh, I'm worried that you're not smart enough for me. And I was like,
You never told me that.
I was
I
like,
didn't know that.
what do you mean?
That's
and
fucking
she
weird.
goes, oh, I'm studying law, so like I'm just worried that you're not smart enough for me.
As someone who studied law girls are fucked. Continue.
Take that note
Okay,
down. 'cause
okay,
that's actually important.
85% of law girls are fucked.
Yeah.
They have the worst, like, ego, I guess is the word, or expectation of men. They all want to date Harvey Specter.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue. But they are fucked.
So anyway, this girl says to me, I'm worried you're not smart enough for me. So my response was, first I was immediately like,
I know
this
I
girl
know
has
what
no
you're
idea. But I said like, what do you mean? Like, let's dive into this a bit further. And she says like, oh, like what? You're probably like a tradesman. And I was like, well,
Technically true.
actually I do have a trade, correct? And she's like, yeah. And like, I don't know, like I'm just, I'm studying law. So like,
What a cunt.
and I was just like it got to the point of the conversation where like she sort of explained it a bit further.
You never
And
told me this.
I gave her the chance to dig herself out of the hole, but
Yeah.
the more she talked, the more like word vomit just come out of her, the
Yeah.
deeper the hole got. So the way I ended the conversation was like, all right, well, look, true, I'm a tradesman, I have a trade. what's also true is I actually work for a big property firm in the city. I have a trade, I have a degree, and I work as a property valuer.
And I'm 7.6 inches when hard.
And to be honest, I know a lot of lawyers. I know a lot of people that studied law, and I know people that work at law, and I wouldn't say that they're any smarter or I'm any dumber than what they are. Anyway, here's your drink. Thank you for taking the opportunity to talk to you.
$8.50. This is my BSB and account.
No, I was like, here's your drink. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Like, I'm gonna leave you on your note.
That's so lame.
And I just like walked away from her.
That's so law chicks are the worst, eh?
But we literally like you studied law.
I dated
there's people that I know that studied law. Like it's not like the people that are doing that are like levels ahead of me on intelligence.
No.
Like I can keep a conversation and I can like if I showed you the work that I do on a day-to-day basis, if like any law person would say like that's confusing. The same way that any law person would like show me what they're doing and I'd be like, I don't understand, that's confusing.
Completely different skill set. One's very like language oriented.
And mine's very like numbers driven and
is,
the Excel spreadsheets that I come up with, you would be like, I don't know how you did that, but that's cool. So like when she said that, because now if I was 19-year-old Dylan, maybe I would have taken more offense to that. But being 26-year-old Dylan
it really sounds like you're over it.
And knowing like being around people that I'm being around, like I have a lot of friends that are lawyers, a lot of friends that studied law, knowing like that this girl was obviously, and the first thing that came to my mind is she's obviously a first year law student. She's obviously gone into it for the title of being into it. She has no real passion for it. I've seen this so many times. I understand exactly what's going on right now. Let me hit you with a little bit of like comeback, I mean, and I like maybe I over exaggerated. Maybe I told her that I was like better than what I was. Maybe I did. Fuck it. Maybe I did. Who cares? But I just wanted to leave her, and I wanted to hit her with like a final statement that was gonna like rock her and like say like. And it was funny because like.
Also, my name is Dylan Obama.
And it was funny because like her friend came over to me later in the night and said like, oh like, she wanted me to come over and like say like, oh she's sorry how she acted. And like so like basically what I'm trying to say is my final statement to her must have hit home because I over exaggerated. I told her I fabricated some shit, but like it was a good slap in the face to her. I feel because like for her just to come out and say off the bat, I studied law and I'm scared you're not smart enough for me.
That's fucking
like
lame.
honey. I wear glasses.
I
wear glasses.
My vision is less than optical.
But yeah, it was. I mean, that's a funny one. But then the thing is my recovery. The way I recovered, I didn't let it shock me. I hit her with some confident bullshit. She bought it,
and now we're happily married.
Have you ever been on OnlyFans?
No, I'm vaguely aware of what it is. It's like women can, and I say women.
It's not women. It's anyone.
It's mostly women, though.
Yeah, because men are that way inclined. So like we would spend money on that. Where a woman wouldn't spend money on seeing a dick.
Very true.
A dick is so ugly.
But yeah, very true. but no, there is a thing called gay for pay, which I didn't know was a thing. But basically, it's a very bodybuilding specific thing, right?
And built around men buying the subscription.
Yes. No, it's gay dudes subscribe to.
I understand what the concept.
Yeah, but the viewers might not.
Okay.
The bodybuilders will bodybuilders who want to pay for their supplements and are up and coming. There is a thing where they will do an OnlyFans or equivalent and get subscription money from gay guys, and they'll basically jack off on camera. So yes, men do this as well. It's not a woman thing only.
Yeah.
So
what I'm saying is men buy it.
Yeah,
more.
no, you're right. Well, in both instances, men are the consumer.
the purchaser. Right.
All right. So no, OnlyFans. You were talking.
Yeah. So OnlyFans, which is big. I actually know a girl who does OnlyFans. So like,
is it anyone I know?
No. Okay. But it like normally it's like these like LA girls that are doing it. But I actually know a girl who lives in Mandurah, I think. Somewhere in Mandurah.
Obviously Mandurah.
And she does OnlyFans, and I mean it's cool. Like I got nothing against it.
Yeah.
But while we're on the topic of like,
while we're on the topic,
we're on the topic of like relationships. What do girls want? Okay. Like how did the last like 4 years affect you? How did the last 6 years affect me? Talking about relationships, whatnot. I just want to know, like, what's your opinion? Could you date a girl that does OnlyFans?
No, I'm probably a little bit too territorial to date someone who does OnlyFans. But I do think it's very important about like whether you know what they're like before you date them. Do you know what I mean? So if you know a girl does this sort of thing and then you start dating them, it's a lot more acceptable than if...
Well, and then, sorry to cut you off, but the reverse is if, like, you know she does this, like, you fuck with her anyway, and then you get to a stage and you're in a relationship and you say, like, you're not allowed to do this anymore. Like, I feel like that's wrong as well. Like, you knew what you were getting into. Like, it turned you on in the beginning, and now that it's your girlfriend, you're weird about it. Like, that can't happen either.
Very true. Yeah.
But, you couldn't do it?
Yeah. Okay, so is the other question, is it cheating?
No. I mean,
I don't think
she's
it's
got another
cheating.
dick in her, maybe. But, like,
Yeah,
it's just like she's on camera.
She's just making content.
She's making content.
She's just a
like,
glorified YouTuber.
Sex sells. Like, it is what it is. Like, you couldn't do it.
Yeah. Do you think, though... okay, so from a female perspective, your boyfriend looks at OnlyFans. Is he cheating? Okay, so... I guess... Is looking at porn cheating? I'm inclined to say no.
I don't think so.
OnlyFans, is that different?
I think it's just the same.
Really? I disagree. I think it's a little bit different.
I think it's more personal.
I think it's a little bit
I mean,
more
you can
personal.
message them.
Yeah.
And they reply.
I think it's a little bit different. I would not blame a woman for finding a distinction between those two concepts.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely right. I mean, to answer the question myself, I personally wouldn't have that much of an issue.
If you were a male.
No, if my girlfriend did OnlyFans.
Really? Yeah, but again, it comes down to, was she doing OnlyFans when you started dating her? If you dated, like, Little Miss Girl Next Door, and then after 6 months she's like, can I do OnlyFans?
Yeah, I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
That is not the girl that I signed up for. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
But if it was...
This is not the mail order bride that I
if there was a girl that, like... Even if, like, I knew that she was a little bit forward in that sense, and she'd come to me after 6 months and said, like, I'm thinking about doing this, I feel like I would still be like, just do it.
Really?
Yeah, if it makes you happy, just do it.
Interesting.
I don't think I'm not insecure enough to really care. And if blokes are seeing it, I'm still the one that gets to do things to it. Like, I just wouldn't be that... That sounds fucked. But I feel like I still just wouldn't be... I wouldn't care that much.
Yeah, right.
And, like, I've been... Like, another thing is, this might play a huge part. I've been through that. That relationship that I had from, like, 15 to 21, there was so much of that jealousy bullshit involved that now, these days, I just don't care.
See, I come from a background of girlfriends where the loyalty has been pretty first class. Like, we're just like, nah, it's just you and me. That's it. There's no, like, background of, like, jealousy or cheating or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm very blessed in that sense. But, yeah, I would probably struggle a little bit with it. But then again, it comes down to the mindset of the girl. She's like, yeah, I'm just grinding, trying to make enough money so we can buy a house. I'd probably be a little bit more receptive. But if it's a girl who's just, I don't know, just doing it for
I want my tits
fun,
out there.
That is different.
Yeah.
I would probably still struggle with it either way, but yeah, nah, probably. Yeah, I'd probably say no. I'd
fair.
probably struggle with it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, we live in such a different time. Like, to previous relationships, I feel like my grandparents' generation to my parents' generation, there's minor changes. Minor changes in the sense that I feel like my mum has more power than my grandma has power over my pop.
Okay.
I feel like my pop wears the pants and there's no fucking if, buts or maybes. But I feel like when it comes to my mum, like, my mum has more power and she's not just a fucking housewife. She can actually say, like, you're doing this, you're doing that.
Yeah.
But then I feel like when it comes back to our generation, there's such a big gap in, like, what relationships are like things like OnlyFans, things like porn is much more prominent in our generation. Like, I feel like there's, like, where we are really setting the tone as far as, like, how do we want relationships to play out? What do we expect from relationships? I think I just feel like you can't go from previous generations and say, like, well, my mum and dad are like this, so we need to be like that. Like, my brother, like, your parents, like, would burn homos on a stake. Like 2020,
Or ribeye.
2020 is not that. Like, we are so much more accepting. We're so much more, like, with whatever. Like there's nothing that, like, you can really be shamed about these days, because 2020, although there is so much shit going on in the world that isn't positive, I feel like in general what our generation has built is a pretty accepting society. I would hope, and I think, I don't know.
Yeah.
So Jesse put a Instagram story out, and we got a few bites. We only have time for one question. So Jesse, at random, choose the question.
Okay, randomizer app.
The one that's there.
All right, we only have one. Matt Pollock has asked, what current AFL players did Dylan play with, and is he still friends with any? So you played East Fremantle level football, and you're from Geraldton. How many AFL listed, former or otherwise? Tell us like all the players you played with.
I'm a bit annoyed because we were going to list this out so I didn't forget anything. But
Were we?
Well, I was anyway.
You didn't tell me that.
All right, we'll go off the dome. So off the dome, Jager O'Meara, don't have any contact with him anymore these days.
Yeah.
Paddy Cripps, don't have any contact with him anymore these days.
For context, you're from Geraldton, which is near Dongra, and you're born in 1994.
Well,
so that puts you around the age of Jager O'Meara, Jack Martin, Pat Cripps.
Yeah, and Pat Cripps was Northampton. So
Simon
Geraldton
Tunbridge?
is very close to North. Yeah.
He's my age.
Yep, so played against him.
Yeah.
So we're including played against.
Yeah, for sure.
The question was played with, but we were including played
Yeah.
against.
Did you play with Jaden Schofield?
Yes.
You did, okay.
Yeah.
So he was at the Bulldogs. Big fan of a bit of a bubbler, as I'm told.
Yeah, and just, big fan of all sorts.
Yeah.
Alright, so Paddy Cripps, Jager O'Meara, Simon Tunbridge, Jack Martin.
That is a handsome array of players.
Maybe.
I was joking, but actually, they are pretty good looking dudes.
I mean, Jager O'Meara is still every
Jager O'Meara, Paddy Cripps, and
Paddy Cripps was a weird one. Paddy Cripps is probably the most gentleman man.
Gentleman man.
To go back to nice guys finish last,
Really?
Paddy Cripps falls under that bracket.
Really?
He's a
Interesting.
very, very nice dude.
Do you think it's because he was only a bit of a rooster later? Like he was a late bloomer?
Oh, when he hit the AFL and got into his alpha shit.
When he was drafted, he was not like the sort of kid you'd look at and be like, fuck, what an alpha.
Mate,
he was like
I'm-
a chubby, oversized kid.
I'm 5'10" for reference, and Paddy Cripps and me and Paddy Cripps were about the same height all the way through. He got to the later years of high school, and then he just started like jetting off. But even still, when he jetted off and he was like a really tall dude, he was still Paddy Cripps, the nice guy. Like he was still like
He's like a
he's not gonna
6'5"
he's not gonna watch this, but like he
Oh, I
is
reckon he will.
generally one of the nicest dudes you'll meet. He is the dude that like any parent would be really, really happy that their daughter brought home.
Wow.
Very nice guy.
bit of a Rory Sloane.
And not like not doing the damage that he might be capable of if he tried.
I'm sure he would be. Like if he's the captain of Carlton. Yeah, nah. In the heart of
No,
his
I
life.
reckon. I don't know. I have no connection with him these days. But I reckon he's probably had a girlfriend the last 3 years.
Has he?
Maybe that's what I mean. I have no idea. But like, if I was gonna bet on anything, I'd say like he's had a girlfriend for the last couple of years.
Good stab. A reasonable stab from you. All right. Anyone else?
We went through this on the live stream. There was
Jamie Cripps? Did you play with Jamie
Yeah.
Cripps?
So I played with Jamie Cripps.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
You're from East Fremantle, so Jared Jansen,
yes.
Jordan Snadden.
Yes.
He never- he never-
trained with him.
Okay, he never played a game, but he was listed.
Who's Zerha?
Yeah, so you played with East Fremantle, so anyone really drafted from East Fremantle
Through that age
through
bracket.
that age bracket,
That 3 years
you
that I was there.
probably dealt with. Yeah.
Marco Paprone. Is
Oh,
he still
yeah.
around?
No, he was at Brisbane. Then I think he went to Collingwood, and now he's Dunsky.
Okay. Well, I actually played serious footy with him through Colts.
Aidan Tropiano.
Yeah,
Yeah, he never played AFL, but if you follow the waffle,
he was
then-
close.
and
He's
the
actually a
Sandford-
very good family friend through football.
Yeah,
Anyone else?
I think you probably covered it. Out of the big stars, like you
Yeah,
probably
it's
covered
very
it.
some very
Yeah.
minor guys, but
Yeah. I played cricket with Sam Whiteman, Perth Scorchers.
lame. Wasn't the question.
Yeah, Bunbury doesn't produce fucking athletes like Geraldton does. I don't know why. We just don't.
We've got a good football league.
Yeah, it's crazy though.
We've got a really
the
good football
SWFL is like decent.
Yeah, no, that's
Like
good.
we've produced like Adam Hunter. That's it. Carl
Yeah.
Reamers.
He's probably better for his meth taking than his football.
Yeah, he was at least top 3 in the meth taking stakes in Bunbury. But yeah,
I was telling Jesse like a few nights ago off camera, but Adam Hunter, when I was like pre-East Fremantle, and I was like, we used to have this because there's like zoning for the WA. So basically, like, because WA country was producing all these good footballers, the waffle teams were sort of fighting over like who gets who. And so what they decided was like there was going to be zoning for like, and each waffle team got a certain zone that they could like pull players from at any given time. And so Eastern Middle got the Midwest. So they got above Dongra. So Perth got Dongra. That's why Jago O'Meara went to Perth. But like Eastern Middle got like Geraldton to Northampton. That's why Jamie Cripps. That's why Josh Kennedy. That's why Paddy Cripps all went to Eastern Middle. It's because like you literally have no option.
Yeah.
For you to go to any other club, Eastern Middle have to sign a document that says we allow this person to go to another club. Otherwise, because you're born in that zone, you have to play for that zone.
Gotcha.
Jack Martin went to Claremont because he was from Broome.
Yes. Gotcha.
So things like that. So, wait, where was I going with this?
We were talking about Adam Hunter.
All right. So anyway, so I was going through that system, right? So I was in Geraldton playing for my local club in Geraldton, but then we were training 2 nights a week outside of our trainings, and we're training with this like select group of guys that were like the instrumental development squad for the Midwest, whatever. And one of the local clubs in Geraldton at Chapman Valley got Adam Hunter. They paid him, obviously, because he's a big name, to come and play for them for the season. So he flew up on the Wednesday. We trained with him on the Thursday. And this was before I knew anything about drugs. I was just super naive with everything. Had no idea, like, if I saw someone that like, normally would say, like, oh my God, like, he doesn't seem right. I was just too naive, I didn't fucking know. But anyway, what had happened was he came to training, he acted real weird. And no one picked it up. But then the coaches and a few of the people that were like the trainers and that were saying like, I think Adam Hunter, he wasn't right. Like he was, there was something weird. Like he was on something. And like all of us kids were like, no, it was fine. He's just an AFL player. Like
He just can't handle really.
Yeah, well, we had no idea. And then on the Saturday, so we trained on the Thursday, he was in Geraldton for 4 days. On the Saturday, he got busted with meth possession.
Damn.
And it's a bit like, how did we not know that?
That's a bad trick.
But all the parents beforehand were saying, like,
Yeah.
he's on something. Like, that he was not right. He is on something. And, like, I mean, you hear parents say it all the time, like, he's on something.
Yeah. Mr. Stevens, he's on something. He's clearly a pedophile. All right, Dad.
Not that. But yeah, that's a funny story with Adam Hunter that I can say.
I can recall. Yeah, so anyway, that's enough about the Bunbury AFL legends. Yeah. Well, we're probably ready to wrap up, Dill.
Yep.
Anything
time.
else you want to say before we wrap up?
Nah, we've been good.
I think we've covered it. Matty Priv with the best question we've had so far.
So shout out to Matty Priv.
Yeah.
Hope I answered your question. There was a tangent afterwards. I don't know why, but rewind. Listen to the players that I played with. All really good guys. I'd say that I was best mates out of all of them with Jago O'Meara. Played a lot of basketball with Jago. Played a lot of footy with Jago. Went to school with Jago for a brief amount before he went to Perth. Also, Paddy Cripps. If those guys, if I saw them in the street, I would be able to have a conversation with them. They would know who I am. Jack Martin as well. Had a lot of good football games against Jack Martin back in Geraldton. Jamie Cripps as well. I played footy with Jamie Cripps at St. Pat's in Geraldton. He was my brother's age, but I played a few games. I used to play like the under 14s and the under 16s, so I used to play with him, and he was probably be the best junior footballer I've seen.
That's crazy. I remember you said it to me before.
So he's probably, like, would you say out of like Patrick Cripps, Jamie Cripps, and Jago O'Meara, would you say that Jamie Cripps is probably like the
least talented?
The least out of all those three?
Yeah.
You would say,
yeah.
He was probably the best. And Chuck Jack Martin in the mix as well.
It's crazy.
I would still say that Jamie Cripps was the best under 16s footballer I've ever seen play.
That's nuts. Yeah.
He was crazy, man.
Yeah.
He was ridiculous. He was the guy that was like he played midfield, but he would get the ball at halfback, be able to run. Like,
he did have speed. He has
run,
speed,
dodge tackles, bounce the ball, and still kick the ball from 15 metres on his opposite foot and bang a goal. Like, he was doing that kind of stuff. And everyone was just like, oh my God, this guy's going to win a Brownlow.
Reminds me of a young Jesse McClure, frankly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's leave that for interpretation from other fans. I mean, I've seen you play a good game of footy. I've seen you
Thanks. All right, stop flirting. All right, I think Ready to
let's
finish up?
wrap this bad boy up.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys, for getting around the Cold World podcast. It's
Appreciate
been
you.
a long-awaited episode 5, and hopefully it won't be as long until the next one.
We are sorry. This isn't going to be like a regular weekly thing. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Let's admit that right now.
Yeah. No, let's face it.
It's not going to be that.
Just a couple of straight dudes doing a podcast.
We're busy dudes. We have a lot on, but we record them when we can. But anyway, we appreciate the support. Appreciate everything that you guys like and comment to. Help me here.
Thanks for watching, guys. We will be on Spotify very, very soon, and iTunes as well. So thanks for getting around the pod, and we'll see you in the next one.
And let us know if you want that. Are you happy with the YouTube format so far, or if you want to listen to us on Spotify and iTunes,
Yeah,
SoundCloud? Nah,
could do.
I don't know. I think
You have to pay for SoundCloud as well. I'd probably just go iTunes and Spotify.
Oh, well, if you want to hear us on iTunes and Spotify, let us know. We're thinking about it. Jesse's been nagging me about it, and I'm still not buying it.
All right, see you guys.